Hello, everybody. I have a snowblower outside of my window, so hopefully that doesn't last too long. I'm excited to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I am pleased to be able to introduce you to the Regional Workforce Development Partnership and our work. And our chamber is one of our proud partners. First, we would like to start with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the Treaty 8 territory, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Cree, Dene, as well as the Métis. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands since time immemorial. We recognize the land as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on. The Regional Workforce Development Partnership Steering Group members present today, we have from the City of Grande Prairie, Kim Pinnock, from the County of Grande Prairie, Jordan Tidy, from the Municipal District of Greenview, Larry Gibson, from Northwestern Polytechnic, Michelle Wallace, and from our Grande Prairie District Chamber of Commerce, we have Tom Pura and myself, Tanya Oliver. And pleased today, we also have joining with us for our presentation today, Sarah Lewis. She's the Senior Manager, Economic Advisory with Deloitte, and they conducted our most recent study. So our agenda today, all of our partnership representatives will be taking turns speaking, as will Sarah from Deloitte. After the presentation, we will have some time for question and answer. So I will just point out for everybody, you'll have a Q&A box enabled on your screen. So feel free to pop in questions there as you come to them. If we run out of time for all the questions, we'll make sure that we get you some answers and we will email participants afterwards. So in our presentation, we will be discussing our region, and the geographic region shown here on this screen is that region that we're referring to, including the local communities within those borders. So our opportunity. Our region's diverse economy provides the broad-based growth that is crucial to sustaining stable, long-term economic growth. And the issue that we're facing is in today's rapidly evolving global economy, the success and competitiveness of our local economy is heavily reliant on a skilled and adaptable workforce. Across our region, labor force gaps in specific sectors, skill sets, and levels of experience are limiting economic growth and employment, and that is affecting quality of life of the people who work and live here. Our region needs a deep pool of skilled and diverse talent if we are to continue to be a strong and vibrant economic hub. Starting in 2019, our 5 organizations came together to work collaboratively to address the urgent need for skilled labor across the region. Community engagement, the commitment of our 5 organizations, and the support of the Government of Alberta through the Labour Market Partnership Program has been integral to our success. And you might ask why regional? And that's because regional coordination just makes sense for us. The labor force operates regionally. Local communities are all unique, yet we all share common goals. People live and commute within the catchment area that is larger than just one community. And our many lifestyle amenities and assets across the region impact and benefit all local communities. Between 2020 and 2022, our 5 organizations hired an external consultant and worked together to conduct some of the most robust labor market research ever gathered for the region. The Regional Labor Market Needs Assessment provides a 360 view of the region's labor market, needs and opportunities. Close to 800 stakeholders participated. A target sector study and key sector profiles identified those key sectors to the region's competitiveness. This work culminated in the creation of a strategic action plan. This plan serves as a roadmap aimed at ensuring there are enough workers with the right skills and supports to drive a strong economic growth across the region. And now I will turn it over to Larry.
Well, thank you, Tanya, and thank you everyone for coming today. If you do have questions along the way, please feel free to type them into the Q&A section of the presentation. So research indicated a need for a designated body to support the local business community in partnership with regional stakeholders. So with the financial commitment of the Greenview Council, City Council, County Council, the Grande Prairie Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and Northwestern Polytechnic leadership, our 5 partners formed the Regional Workforce Development Partnership. This partnership is a designated body at work for the region. It aims to bring coordination to a broad ecosystem of stakeholders across the region to strengthen the regional workforce ecosystem. Working with the community collaborators, our Regional Workforce Development Partnership Steering Group provides the leadership and resources to implement the strategic action plan. This work aligns with each partner's workforce development strategic priorities. By collaborating regionally, we aim to strengthen the region's workforce ecosystem, promote the region, integrate more young people into the workforce, and develop a stable talent pool. This funding allows us to be proactive, to plan and to work with both short and longer term initiatives. Our team will talk about those later in the presentation. We're also able to leverage those funds to access government grants. Attraction and retention are key to growing the talent pool. And so over the past year, we worked with Deloitte to do a deep dive around the challenges and opportunities related to recruiting and retaining skilled workers in the area. And with that, I'd like to introduce Sarah Lewis of Deloitte, who will share the findings of our recent attraction and retention study conducted for the region. Take it away, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Larry. So it's my pleasure to be here to share what we learned as a group with the regional partnership in relation to the workforce needs and specifically employer and employee perspectives. Today, we'll be covering the objectives of the research, and Larry did a good job of introducing those already. We'll be talking a little bit specifically about the data and results of the consultation efforts. We'll be looking at some of the results of the SOAR analysis, which just gives us a sense of what some of the strategic opportunities and aspirations are within the region, and then close with a few thoughts on what can be done to further workforce development. Why don't we move to the next slide? And again. Okay. So first of all, for the objectives of the research, this study really, at the end of the day, asks the question, what are employer and employee perspectives of workforce needs, and also what the valued assets and advantages are of living in the region, to be able to understand where the action can most effectively be taken to strengthen the workforce. So for employers, we sought to understand employers' experiences and perspectives in attracting and retaining talent, to inform and strengthen overall the talent ecosystem. For employees, we looked at identifying key community assets that matter for attracting and retaining workers, and looked for insights as far as employees' perspectives on how workforce attraction and retention could be enhanced. Next slide. How we went about this process as a group, a collaborative group, was a series of 4 stages which took place over the course of a year. After project initiation, there was a situational analysis, and initial stakeholder engagement was undertaken to understand the statistics and the workforce, the features of the workforce to be able to inform the study. Then baseline data collection consisted of those 2 main surveys of employees and employers, and then closed with a reporting and analysis of the results of both the background research and also of the surveys. So in terms of the survey outcomes, more than 650 stakeholders provided insights and feedback. 195 regional employers participated, and over 450 employees and job seekers participated. This provided a strong basis for the findings that we'll be sharing today, and understanding the perspectives of these 2 very important groups in managing the workforce and in being able to meet the needs of communities and build the economy. Let's move on to the data. So first we have some profile information. Of course, as you'd be aware, the population of the economic regions surrounding the partnership include a population of just over 130,000 people, which has declined slightly overall. There's 25% of that population was mobile or who shifted place of residence within the 5 years of when the data was gathered. And this is from the 2021 census. 30% of the population is working age and 12% retirement age. And in terms of immigration and diversity, you can have a sense that there is a strong presence of immigrants, Indigenous people, and visible minorities within the region. And just worth noting before we move on from the slide that it's important to distinguish the County of Grande Prairie's population grew at quite a bit of a faster rate than the rest of Alberta, but overall population growth in the region was slower than the rest of the province. So we see that overall across the regional partnership, that there is a difference in the level of population or the speed of population growth and in the dynamics of the workforce, which needs to be taken into consideration in any actions that arise from the research. We'll move on from here to talk a little bit about the employment counts, employment levels. So we can see here in terms of trends that over time, we look at 3 points in time here, 2019 pre-pandemic, and then 2022 post-pandemic, and then a forecast to 2028 in terms of the overall number of jobs in the region. We see here that there's been some strengthening overall of employment. However, we haven't quite reached the level of pre-pandemic employment overall. Some of the areas of growth were led by mining, quarrying, oil and gas extraction, and demand in healthcare and social assistance and retail trade. And there is continuing to be projected growth in the future. And so we're seeing that there will be an increase overall in the level of employment in the region. And so with those pieces of context, we can see a bit more information here on the specifics of the different sectors. And so I've been able to cover this for the most part. Would just say that accommodations and food services leading the number of jobs expected to be gained through to 2028, and transportation and warehousing also there with gains, and then projected declines, construction, agriculture, forestry, fishing, and hunting. And so we can see that just based on recent economic trends, this is the general direction of employment projected out to 2028. So that gives us a sense of the context overall of the economy. So with that covered, why don't we start talking a little bit about the results of the survey so that we can hear directly from employers and employees on the needs of the region. Some of the key themes of the regional employer survey that we certainly want to highlight here are that there's an availability of required labor is a point that needs to be covered. 55% of employers reported being satisfied with the availability of labor to support their growth and success, which means that 45% of respondents have had some difficulty finding required labor in the region. And that is a substantial percentage of the economy, and follows that business growth and success is somewhat being limited by those findings. Employee attraction, 50% of employers were satisfied or very satisfied with the region as a place to attract workers. And specifically, employers were most satisfied with competitive wages, their ability to offer competitive wages, and access to information about what's available in the region and communities. So there are some areas where employers felt very happy with the information available and with their ability to offer wages. However, this still suggests that half of employers still feel that more is needed on the attraction front to be able to meet their workforce needs. And 38% of employers reported their total number of employees had increased over the past 12 months, and 55% expected an increase over the next 12 months. So again, showing that growth is coming in the future, and highlighting the need for workforce development to be able to meet those needs. Next slide. So now we can talk a little bit about what are the priorities that employers are seeing. They felt that to retain employees, overall cost of living, excluding housing in this case, availability of childcare, and the availability of transportation options were very important for employee retention and are priorities for employers. In terms of recruitment outside of the region, 39% of respondents indicated they've directed recruitment efforts outside of the region. So showing that many employers are already reaching out into regions outside to be able to bring in those that they need to be able to meet employment needs. And I think very significantly, employers were very satisfied with the region as a place to retain workers, 69%, and still had some challenges with attracting workers, with only 50% reporting satisfaction in that area. Let's talk a little bit about employees now. We've understood the perspective of employers. So employees were very overwhelmingly satisfied with the region as a place to work, which speaks to how attractive the region is for those who live here. Labor force participants are most satisfied with job opportunities, so moving for economic reasons or happy with their economic circumstances, commuting times, job security, and access to health benefits and sick pay. So these are very good advantages that can be shared to support recruitment. The top priorities for employees for retention include accessibility of training, pay and compensation, and the availability of professional development opportunities. So we can see here that training is a very important aspect of employee retention. We'll move on to the next slide. So now what do we see in terms of further key findings specifically around quality of life? So we see 86% of labor force participants were satisfied with the quality of life in the region. So in some areas they were most satisfied included family friendliness, K-12 education, and the availability of recreational activities. So we can see here very high satisfaction levels that are worth championing in any kind of workforce attraction or retention efforts. Some of the priorities that employees were looking for to enhance their quality of life included the availability of health and medical services, public transportation, that cost of living aside from housing, and again, the availability of childcare. So we see that these areas really require coordination and work in many cases at the local level, and in some cases beyond the region to be able to meet some of these needs for priorities to improve quality of life. And then career progression. This is a very important point. So 26% of respondents agreed that the region provided opportunities for career progression. 49% somewhat agreed. So there's overall a positive response, but perhaps some room for improvement and attention to the opportunities for career progression within the region as being important for employee retention. So overall, as we look at the picture of what employers are saying and what employees are saying, overall, employers need talent attraction support. There are gaps right now in the workforce in the region that are limiting business growth. And that is an area of attention to be able to create a vibrant communities and a strong workforce. There's some work that needs to be done on attraction specifically. The availability of training is affecting talent retention. This is a strong finding that training opportunities are sought by employees and that can have an impact on retention. It's really important to note that the region is very attractive to talent. So employees report that the region is a great place to live and to work. They appreciate the employment opportunities and career opportunities available here, as well as the recreational opportunities and other great aspects of living in the region. Some of the areas to work on to improve retention rates would be that cost of living, access to childcare, and again, transportation, and that affects employee retention and satisfaction. So certainly these results give us some insight into what the priorities are and what kind of actions are needed to be able to support retention and attraction and a strong workforce. Some of the opportunities that we see overall through the data and also through the survey results is that the population has a younger median age than Alberta, which means that there is an available workforce to grow into professional opportunities and into workforce opportunities across the region. Certainly hiring through immigration is a viable strategy. So there are businesses and employees suggested that this is a welcoming and inclusive group of communities, that there are local cultural communities and programs to support this area as part of an attraction and retention strategy. Coordinated attraction efforts can really support the large number of employers who are having difficulty finding workforce availability in the region. So coordination and really working together to meet this significant need across the business community is a strong opportunity for the region. There was certainly expressed a need and desire for regional marketing initiatives, again, to support workforce attraction, and also opportunities in relation to leveraging personal networks such as family and friends to support the promotion of available job opportunities and to attract new residents. Let's talk a little bit about aspiration. What are those who are involved in the research hoping for and would like to see happen for the region? Employers consider improvements to the overall cost of living, childcare, and transportation as top priorities. They're also seeking talent who will choose the region and to stay in the region, while employees are looking for professional opportunities and opportunities for professional growth and training. Employees would also like to improve the accessibility of training, pay and compensation, and those professional development opportunities, ideally through local training and education providers. So as we look at all of the research and the aspirations and opportunities available, here are some areas of activity that were suggested by the research findings. So in terms of workforce attraction, drawing on that diverse workforce from outside the region to support the opportunities available regionally for employment. For retention, it is a lot easier to retain once someone has moved to the region. So having a sense of reducing loss of those who may be mobile and thinking about moving or have moved, we see that mobility happening in the workforce. The more we can do for retention, we can reduce some of that loss and then to improve overall the availability of workers and making sure that employees have the type of employment that they're excited about and that they see a professional future. So retention is a very important area of activity. Diversity. So with this sense of mobility, people moving into the region, that there will be employment opportunities and a need for individuals to fill those opportunities, there's going to be a diversity of people in the community. And so working to build diverse and inclusive workplaces will help to both attract and also to retain that talent. We heard very strongly that employees are looking for professional development and training. So some attention to that area would be very helpful for building the workforce. And then in terms of experiential learning, so encouraging a culture of employer participation in work integrated learning programs provides opportunities to attract employees as well as integrate training into that attraction process. And so a nice fit for the results that we're seeing from the research here today. In conclusion, just want to say a very strong thank you to all of you for attending here today and for your interest and support and for the regional partnership and for the development and maintenance and growth of the workforce in the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah. My name is Michelle Wallace, and I am from Northwestern Polytechnic. Research highlighted that employees would like to improve the accessibility of appropriate work-related training. Work-integrated learning, which is experiential learning by placing students in a workplace or practice setting, is an important opportunity to grow local workforce. Regional Workforce Development Partnership is working with Northwestern Polytechnic to explore ways we can work together to strengthen the connections between local employers, job seekers, and trainers. When we bridge education and practical work experience, students are better prepared for the job market, local employers can access local talent to grow their businesses, and students are more likely to stay in the region by working and setting down roots. I'm now going to pass it to Jordan from the County of Grande Prairie.
Hello, everyone. Jordan from the County of Grande Prairie. So when it comes to the regional workforce marketing strategy, we've heard time and time again in the research that while there are folks who are here, they know how great our region is and they want to stay here, and there's lots of great things holding them here. We need to do a better job of promoting ourselves and letting other folks know that this is a great place to be. So the marketing strategy, it's in progress right now. It will be unveiled early this spring with targeted actions to promote the region. So not just job opportunities, but also all of our awesome quality of life assets and amenities. And on the next slide, please. And the next piece will be our website. So that'll also be launching this spring. So that'll be a tool that local employers can use to assist their attraction, retention, and training. And we really want this to be something that our employers in the region really find useful. So, we're going to be from our research we've done so far, but also working with our employers to really make sure it's exactly what you need when you're doing recruitment and bringing folks in. We're going to have detailed information about our regional amenities. We're going to have everything that's available to workers and their families across the region, prospective employers, and those folks who are already in the area or maybe been recently hired and just don't know where everything is yet. So, we've through other research that we did through a project with the province of Alberta, we completed a bunch of research and developed a comprehensive inventory of regional lifestyle amenities. It's actually available right now in Excel format on the Chamber's website. But what we'll be doing is taking that information and beyond having it available right now, we'll make sure it's more interactive within our actual new site. And this will be a great place where all of our local employers can access that most recent labor market data that we'll be producing. And then I'll pass it on over to Kim with the city.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Jordan. So when we talk about collaboration, the Regional Workforce Development Partnership is not doing this work on our own. Everything that we do is community driven. And we can credit some of the accomplishments of the group to date to the commitment of the Government of Alberta through the Labour Market Partnership funding, which has supported much of the research, this research and previous research that we've conducted, to the commitment of our local councils, the Chamber and NWP to this partnership, and to the outstanding engagement from our community partners. To date, we've had about 1,500 employees, job seekers, and community leaders and stakeholders who have shared their insights through recommendations, surveys, interviews, and focus groups. And that insight is now guiding and driving the work that we have underway. So, next slide, please. So a collaborative regional approach to workforce development will help us ensure that the region can attract, retain, and train a skilled and educated and adaptive workforce to meet current and future labor force needs. Moving forward, the success of the work that we're doing relies on the continued commitment and engagement of stakeholders across the region. Building a culture of cooperation and partnership is key to achieving the most impact from this work. And we know that it will support overall business competitiveness, it'll promote quality of life, and it will position the region as a leader in prosperity and growth. And so now I'm going to kick it over to Tanya to move us into our Q&A section.
Wonderful. Thank you guys for an excellent overview of where we have been and where we are going. I will remind participants that you do have a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. I know we shared a lot of information with you, so if there's nothing that comes to mind right now, that's okay. You know where to find us. We're always available to answer any questions. The study that Sarah went through is on the Chamber website. You can see the URL shared there, as well as the link to the assets that Jordan referred to, and our previous research projects as well. So we'll give it a moment. There aren't any questions yet, but that just might mean you get a little bit of time in your lunch hour back. We do really appreciate everybody for spending your valuable time with us. We will continue to do the good work that the research has pointed us towards, and we're all really grateful for the partnerships that we have amongst our organizations, but amongst the community. I mean, this is for the community and we couldn't have done it without you guys. So, okay, let's see. We've got a couple of questions. Yes, so we will be making the presentation available. We will post it on our chamber YouTube channel and share it out. We will email the participants who registered in the next couple of days, as well as contact information for all of the panelists. And, okay. So we do have a question here. Who is interested in recruitment from the Alberta and Western Canada Indigenous population? I'm not sure if anybody has an answer for that one.
Well, I don't think we specifically asked that particular question in our market research, but I think the results we've got to this point indicate that everyone is looking for workforce. So I think the answer would probably be yes to for all of our participants.
All right. I will maybe get all of our panelists to come on video and then we can kind of take turns answering this. So there is a reference to the Trades Advisory Committee. This isn't something I can speak to because I'm not aware of it, but is there anybody aware of the Trades Advisory Committee that's being referenced to? Just curious what happened to it is the question. Okay. That is something, if you want to send us a little bit more information about that, we'll be happy to look into that further for you. Are we working with Alberta Industry Training to make it easier to get qualified mechanics from other locations?
I can take that one.
Perfect.
Yeah. So currently we haven't gotten that far into the project, but that is a great suggestion, and we will put some notes down and we will start working in that direction. So thank you for that.
Yeah, part of our efforts is we have our 5 organizations that have formed the steering group and the official partnership, but we have a large community of collaborators that we are going to continue to work with. So yes, thank you very much for that specific suggestion. And as we continue on, I mean, we will have more engagement opportunities as we alluded to. And, even if something comes up afterwards that you think of, we are very much want to hear about it. And so please keep sending your ideas our way. And we are doing this for the community, not just in our own silos. So please keep sending those ideas and questions over, and that'll just help inform our future efforts as well. Okay, was there discussion or feedback received about engaging and supporting youth in the workforce? Who wants to take that one?
I can speak to that a little bit. I mean, for sure, the work integrated learning aspect is a big part of that. I mean, not only, making sure the training is available to everyone, but a lot of the work integrated learning piece includes things like, internships, co-ops, the apprenticeship training programs, which are, for the most part, I mean, a lot of them are geared towards youth. So it's a big part of what we're focused on, because we talk about the recruitment piece, and then, the folks that already live here, they know how great it is. So we want to retain them. So for us, absolutely, we're interested in making sure that the folks that are already here are getting into our local businesses and filling that workforce gap.
I'll maybe just add to that and say that some of the future engagement that we'll do around this partnership and the other pieces that are part of our action plan include further discussions with community organizations, further discussions with the school divisions to see where we can align things, and also future discussions with our Indigenous communities as well. There was some work that was done when the LMA was done to engage Indigenous communities and partners. and have them participate in that research. So there has been some initial work, but there is absolutely more work to be done and more partnerships to be built as this gets built out.
Yeah, we're at a very exciting point in, culminating all the research that we've done and all of the consultations that we've done. And we're going to have some really good tangible assets to be able to share throughout all the facets of our community. And so we have a lot of great avenues to continue to engage and to retain and bolster recruitment as well. So. Okay, if we are targeting more people to come to the area, is there adequate housing to support them?
I'll just maybe note that housing is obviously a challenge that we're facing across the country and across the province and across most communities. I know from the city's perspective, housing is a priority for council, and there is other work being done, not necessarily through this workforce development partnership, but through the council level engagements on that issue.
I can also add maybe, we've done, there's been a number of different projects and housing studies been on the board. We've, coordinate, closely with the city's team as well and trying to support they're getting additional housing in the area. But if you look at it from sort of a higher level stats perspective, our cost of housing is relatively low compared to lots of other communities across Canada. We actually see that as a real benefit for our area, that your ability to purchase a home here is much greater than in other areas, like even like Calgary or Vancouver. But we'll definitely agree with you 100% that the rental market right now is very, very tight. So that presents a big challenge that we hear from our local businesses who are, having to bring folks in or to try out a new career or working with a new company. It's difficult to find somewhere in the short term for sure. But I will say, so it's a bit of both, it's a challenge on one side, but it's also one of our advantages on the other. It gets more complicated depending on who you're trying to recruit and for what role. So when we go to market with our marketing strategy and who we're specifically focusing on, we'll have to have different messaging for different folks depending on who we're trying to attract at what skill level, at what income level, experience level. Like that messaging has to be a part of that. But definitely when it comes to that more affordable housing or that those rental properties, we for sure see the tightness in the market and we're working on it to try to fix that.
I'll just build on Jordan's comment very quickly that the results of the research indicated that the cost of living aside from housing was just more highly ranked on the part of employees. So it certainly doesn't mean that it's not an issue, but in terms of priorities that employees shared with us through the survey results, the cost of living aside from housing was considered to be a larger issue.
Larry?
Yeah, thanks. I just appreciate the comments from Kim, Jordan, and Sarah on that. And I just wanted to say it's not just confined to the larger urban centers or communities right around those large urban centers. It is affecting our smaller communities as well. We know there's some housing challenges when you get into the more remote, smaller communities like the Fox Creeks, Valley Views, and Grand Caches of the world as well. So definitely something that we look to work towards finding some solutions for that for sure.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, everybody. This one is with the marketing. Will there be a focus on youth and career transitioners about awareness of hot careers in the region, supporting the opportunities within needed care?
Well, I can start maybe. So based on the research we've got tons of information right now that we're planning on making available through the research on exactly which jobs and occupations are projected to need the highest number of new employees. I mean, due to also, just a growth in those industries, but also retirements within those industries. So having that information out there is going to be really important. I think regardless whether you're a career transitioner or on the youth side of things, we want to make sure that we make it very clear which are the careers that are that we are going to need the most, and that's going to be a part of our messaging no matter what. And I think similar to what we were talking about previously, when we go to market and we're reaching out to individuals related to specific occupations, the messaging is going to be different depending on who we're reaching out to. So we likely will have, be framing this conversation around the youth side of things within work integrated learning, but then also career transition within work integrated learning. Like there's a lot of different ways to approach that, but absolutely our biggest goal is making sure that we're all on the same page about who we need and what skills we need. So that's a priority for us.
I can maybe just add to that and say that the website that we're currently developing, the hope is to actually have the links to the job opportunities that are available in the region so that people can come to this website, which is a one-stop shop. They can learn about the region, they can understand our key sectors, and then they can actually look at the jobs that are available in the region. So that will hopefully be a big benefit to anybody who's looking for employment opportunities here.
Yeah, and just to add on to that is the the testimonials that will be reaching out with some of our industry roundtables and individuals in the community to do some testimonials that can kind of highlight those opportunities as well and really speak to the area. So we look forward to working with everyone on that as well.
Perfect, thank you. The next question, where is the Excel listing of community resources on our website? So I was going to direct you to, so it's grandprairiechamber.com. On the left-hand side, there's a workforce development partnership menu option. I might have spoke out of turn. Doesn't look like the link to request the Excel sheet is quite there yet. So we will include that with our email to registrants so that you can have access to that. So it will be a short form to request it, and then we'll get it right your way. So apologies for that. Okay. Let's see. This one is regarding the rural renewal stream. What is happening with the Rural Renewal Stream program with regards to letting immigrants know how the program works prior to them moving to Grande Prairie to fill those employment opportunities? So this one here is out of the scope of the Workforce Development Partnership. Each of the municipalities are working on the Rural Renewal Stream in their own communities. So I would, unless my municipal colleagues would suggest otherwise, I would direct you to reach out through those channels because that is out of the scope of our Regional Workforce Development Partnership. All right. So, does anybody
maybe I could just have a quick note on that. So obviously there is ongoing conversations between each of the municipalities and each other, and also the municipalities and the provincial government on this program. So we're continuing to share information about what's happening in our communities. The province is continuing to look at their program and look at where we can tweak and make things better. So it is a bit of an iterative process, but we are continually adapting, reviewing, adjusting programs and sharing information to make sure that the program is running as efficiently as it can be, at least from the municipal side, and also to share up with the province what's needed from the municipal side, from candidate perspectives and also from other competitors.
And I would just add to the second kind of part of the question is regarding retention. And so our website that we're currently constructing is going to be used both for attraction, but also retention. So we will be able to, showcase in one spot the amenities that we have to offer in our region. And that will hopefully help ease some of the pain points for people that are new to know what we've got available here in the region, because it is a very robust list. So it'll be great to have that housed in one spot to share.
Well, I just want to include maybe a little bit on the rural renewal stream piece. I know it's not necessarily the main focus of this thing, but just, moving to the region prior to understanding how that program works, it's not necessarily a barrier to entering that program. I mean, there's lots of individuals who are already in the region who have taken advantage of that program or at least started going through the process. It's not one of those programs that you have to enroll in before you arrive in the region, but I absolutely agree that it's a difficult process often, and there's a lot of different streams, a lot of information at the provincial and federal level. So, anything we can do to keep providing information as often as possible, as clearly as possible, we're going to do to the best of our ability, because we understand that it's a tricky. The immigration process is not as easy as it might be, so it's a difficult process for everyone, for sure.
Okay. Does anybody have any last thoughts you want to add in? All right. Well, thank you again to all of the participants today. We really appreciate you joining us, and we will follow up in a short amount of time with the recording of today's session, so you can share it amongst others who are also interested and maybe couldn't join us, and a link to the Chamber website that includes a link to get the Excel sheet on the asset mapping. So thank you again for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day.